Have you ever felt trapped by negative thoughts, like they've built unbreakable walls inside your mind? These invisible bricks hold you back, fill you with doubt, and convince you that you're never enough. But what if I told you that you could tear those walls down? Stoic philosophy teaches us not only to face life with calm and clarity, but also to challenge the negative beliefs that stand between us and our true potential. Today, we'll explore 35 powerful ways to destroy those limiting beliefs and set yourself free. No matter how deeply rooted they are, these methods can help you break through. But before we dive into the details, let me share a story that captures the essence of what we'll be learning in this video. Once upon a time, there was a young woman named Sophia who lived in a small village surrounded by mountains. Sophia was known for her kindness and her incredible talent for music. Yet, despite her potential, she never dared to play in front of an audience. Her life was ruled by a deeply ingrained negative belief: I'm not good enough. Others are better than me. One day, while walking along a path near the river, she came across an old man sitting on a rock. He was carefully carving a piece of wood, his focus unwavering. Intrigued, Sophia stopped to watch. After a while, the old man looked up and smiled. "You seem to carry a heavy burden in your heart, young one," he said. Sophia sighed, and for reasons she couldn't explain, she began to share her fears and doubts. The old man listened patiently, then held up the piece of wood he was carving. "Do you see this piece of wood? When I found it, it was nothing but a rough, shapeless block. But I saw what it could become. Day by day, I chip away at the unnecessary parts to reveal what was already inside. Your negative beliefs are like those excess pieces. They don't define you. They're just layers that need to be removed." Moved by his words, Sophia decided to take his advice. She began observing her thoughts, identifying each negative belief that held her back. Over time, she practiced methods to confront them, writing down her fears, shifting her perspective, and gradually allowing herself to play her music in front of small groups. A year later, Sophia performed her first concert in the village square. Her hands trembled at first, but as she looked at the crowd, she remembered the old man's words: "You are so much more than your beliefs." Her music filled the air, and with every note, she felt the invisible walls in her mind crumble. Sophia's story teaches us a valuable lesson. Negative beliefs are not unbreakable. With intention and practice, you can dismantle them and unlock the best version of yourself. So, what negative beliefs do you want to break free from? Join me as we explore 35 ways to destroy those limiting thoughts and create a life where you can finally thrive. Let's get started. 1. You are not your thoughts. Every day, countless thoughts pass through your mind, shaping how you perceive the world and yourself. Some thoughts uplift you, while others pull you into an abyss of self-doubt and negativity. But here's the first truth that you must internalize. You are not your thoughts. Negative beliefs are not permanent fixtures of who you are. They are temporary impressions, often shaped by past experiences, fear, and external influences. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with rocks. Each rock represents a belief you've picked up along the way. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I don't deserve happiness. The more rocks you collect, the heavier your burden becomes. Over time, you start mistaking the weight of the backpack for your natural state. You convince yourself that the heaviness is just part of who you are. But is it? Stoic philosophy teaches that our thoughts are like clouds. They drift in, linger for a while, and then move on. It's only when you cling to them, treating them as absolute truths, that they solidify into beliefs. Think about this for a moment. How many of your current beliefs have you questioned, or have you simply accepted them because they've been with you for so long? Let's delve deeper. A belief is nothing more than a thought you've repeated so many times that it's hardened into a conviction. Consider how it forms. Someone criticizes you, you internalize their words, and over time, you start believing them. This belief begins to dictate your choices, your actions, and even your identity. But what if you questioned it? What if you asked, is this really true? The key to destroying negative beliefs is to realize their impermanence. You are not defined by the criticisms of others, nor by the failures of your past. Every time you question a negative belief, you chip away at its power. It's like the story of Sophia and the old man carving wood. Your true self, your potential, is hidden beneath layers of self-doubt. It's up to you to peel back those layers. Here's a powerful practice. Observe your thoughts without judgment. When a negative belief arises, don't suppress it or fight it. Instead, acknowledge it. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it serving me, or is it holding me back? Often you'll find that these beliefs are based on fear or outdated assumptions. The simple act of questioning them can weaken their hold on you. Another truth about belief systems is that they feed on repetition. The more you tell yourself, "I can't," the more you believe it. But this works both ways. Just as a negative belief can grow stronger with repetition, a positive one can do the same. Start replacing "I can't" with "I can." At first it might feel unnatural, even forced, but over time it will begin to feel true. Destroying a negative belief isn't about erasing it overnight. It's about choosing moment by moment not to give it power. It's about recognizing that you are not your thoughts, and you are certainly not the sum of your fears. You are the awareness behind them, the person who has the power to decide which beliefs to keep and which to discard. So, the next time you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never be good enough," pause. Remind yourself that this thought is just a cloud passing by. It doesn't define you. You define you. And the more you practice this, the more you'll realize that you've been carrying a backpack filled with rocks you never needed. One by one, let them go. 2. Your beliefs are not facts. Here's another truth that can set you free. Your beliefs are not facts. They might feel real, even undeniable, but that doesn't make them true. Beliefs are subjective interpretations colored by your experiences, emotions, and biases. And just like any interpretation, they can be revised. Let's take a step back. Have you ever looked at a situation and felt absolutely certain about what it meant, only to realize later that you were wrong? Maybe you thought someone's silence meant they were angry with you, but they were simply tired. Or perhaps you believed you failed miserably at something only to find out others admired your effort. These moments reveal an important lesson. Our beliefs are shaped by perspective, not reality. Consider this. 2 people can experience the exact same event and come away with entirely different beliefs about it. Imagine 2 employees who receive critical feedback from their boss. One might think, "I'm terrible at my job. I'll never improve." The other might think, "This is an opportunity to grow and become better." The event is the same, but the beliefs are worlds apart. Why? Because beliefs are filtered through perspective. This is where Stoic philosophy offers a profound insight. You have the power to change your perspective. Epictetus, a famous Stoic, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your reaction Your interpretation determines whether a belief takes root or not. Let's put this into practice. The next time you catch yourself spiraling into a negative belief, pause and ask yourself, is this a fact or is it just my perspective? Often you'll find that your belief is based on assumptions rather than evidence. For example, if you think, "I'll never succeed," ask yourself, what evidence do I have for this? Have I really tried every possible path? Or am I just assuming failure because of a few setbacks? The truth is, your mind loves patterns. If you've faced rejection or failure in the past, your mind will try to predict similar outcomes in the future. It's a survival mechanism designed to protect you from pain. But while this might keep you safe, it also keeps you small. It convinces you to avoid risks, to settle for less, and to see yourself through a lens of limitation. To break free, you must challenge these patterns. Start by reframing negative beliefs into empowering ones. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm not good at this," try, "I'm still learning, and every step brings me closer to mastery." Instead of, "I'll never find happiness," try, "Happiness is something I can cultivate one moment at a time." These shifts might seem small, but they create a ripple effect in how you perceive yourself and your life. Another powerful technique is to adopt the mindset of a curious observer. When a negative belief arises, don't treat it as gospel truth. Instead, treat it as a hypothesis to be tested. Ask yourself, is there another way to view this situation? What would a friend or mentor say if they were in my shoes? This simple act of curiosity can transform even the most entrenched beliefs. Remember, your beliefs are like lenses through which you view the world. If the lenses are smudged with negativity, everything will appear dim and distorted. But if you clean those lenses, if you challenge and reshape your beliefs, you'll see the world in a new light. So, here's the takeaway. Your beliefs are not facts. They are stories you tell yourself, and like any story, they can be rewritten. The pen is in your hand. Will you use it to write a narrative of doubt and fear? Or will you create a story of resilience, growth, and self-empowerment? The choice is yours. 3. Manipulation leads to delusion and self-deception. Manipulation is often seen as a tool for gaining control over situations, people, or outcomes. Whether it's subtle persuasion or outright deceit, the act of manipulation creates an illusion of power. But here's the hard truth. Manipulation doesn't just deceive others, it deceives you. Every time you manipulate, you weave a web of delusion that entraps not only your target, but also yourself. Let's examine why manipulation leads to such destructive outcomes. When you manipulate, you construct a false reality. You bend truths, omit details, or craft narratives that align with your agenda. This altered reality might give you temporary leverage, but it also warps your perspective. Over time, you start believing in the very illusions you've created. You lose touch with authenticity, both in your relationships and in your understanding of yourself. Stoic philosophy warns against such deceptions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When your thoughts are rooted in manipulation, your soul absorbs that toxicity. You might convince yourself that you're merely being strategic or protecting your interests, but deep down, manipulation corrodes your integrity. And without integrity, true growth is impossible. Another pitfall of manipulation is its dependency on external validation. To manipulate effectively, you must constantly anticipate others' reactions and adjust your tactics. This external focus robs you of inner peace. Instead of living authentically, you become consumed by the need to control how others perceive you. This constant vigilance breeds anxiety, insecurity, and eventually self-doubt. But the most insidious consequence of manipulation is self-deception. When you manipulate others, you tell yourself that it's justified, that the ends outweigh the means, or that it's harmless. Over time, these justifications become your truth. You stop seeing the harm you're causing, not only to others, but also to yourself. You create a version of reality where manipulation feels necessary, even virtuous. And in this delusion, you lose sight of who you truly are. Breaking free from this cycle requires radical honesty. Ask yourself, am I being truthful in my interactions? Am I seeking genuine connection, or am I trying to control outcomes? This self-reflection can be uncomfortable, but it's essential for reclaiming your authenticity. Remember, manipulation might give you temporary gains, but it will never bring lasting fulfillment. Instead of manipulating, embrace vulnerability. Be honest about your needs, your intentions, and your boundaries. This doesn't mean you'll always get what you want, but it does mean you'll build relationships rooted in trust rather than deceit. And trust, unlike manipulation, is a foundation for genuine growth. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, our own actions, thoughts, and responses. Manipulation, on the other hand, is an attempt to control what lies beyond our reach, the reactions and perceptions of others. By letting go of this futile pursuit, you free yourself from the burden of deception. You step into a life of clarity, where your actions align with your values and your soul remains untainted by falsehoods. In the end, manipulation is a trap. It promises power, but delivers delusion. It might fool others for a while, but it fools you most of all. The path to true strength lies not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself. Only then can you live with integrity, free from the chains of self-deception. 4. Suppressing potential fosters destruction and jealousy. Imagine a seed buried in fertile soil, yearning to grow into a mighty tree. It holds infinite potential, but what if that seed is never watered or given sunlight? It remains buried, its potential wasted, and its promise unfulfilled. Now, think of yourself as that seed. Suppressing your potential is like denying yourself the water and sunlight you need to thrive. And just as a neglected seed eventually withers, so too does a person who stifles their growth. Suppressing potential doesn't just lead to stagnation, it breeds destruction. When you ignore your talents, passions, or aspirations, you create a void within yourself. This void is filled with frustration, resentment, and regret. Over time, these emotions fester, turning inward as self-loathing or outward as jealousy. You begin to resent those who embrace their potential, seeing their success as a reminder of your own unfulfilled dreams. But why do we suppress our potential in the first place? Fear is often the culprit. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of change. It's easier to stay in the comfort zone, convincing yourself that your dreams are unrealistic or that the timing isn't right. But this comfort is an illusion. The longer you suppress your potential, the heavier the weight of regret becomes. And regret, as the Stoics warn, is a burden that steals joy from the present. Jealousy is another byproduct of suppressed potential. When you see others achieving what you've denied yourself, it stings. You might tell yourself that they had better opportunities or more talent, but deep down, you know the truth. They simply took a leap that you were too afraid to take. This jealousy isn't just destructive to your relationships, it's corrosive to your soul. It blinds you to your own capabilities, trapping you in a cycle of bitterness and self-pity. The antidote to this destruction is courage. Courage to acknowledge your potential, to pursue it despite the risks, and to embrace the discomfort of growth. The Stoics remind us that greatness lies not in avoiding challenges, but in facing them with resolve. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastering yourself means owning your potential, even when it scares you. Here's the truth. Your potential is not a burden. It's a gift. It's the unique contribution you can make to the world. Suppressing it doesn't just harm you. It deprives others of the value you could offer. Think of the countless innovations, works of art, and acts of kindness that have shaped humanity. Each one came from someone who chose to embrace their potential rather than suppress it. So, how do you stop suppressing your potential? Start by taking small, consistent steps. You don't have to change your life overnight, but you do have to start. Identify one area where you've been holding back, whether it's a skill you've neglected, a dream you've postponed, or a fear you've avoided. Commit to taking action, no matter how small. Each step builds momentum, and momentum leads to growth. Remember, your potential is like a flame. It might flicker in the wind, but it won't extinguish unless you let it. Nurture that flame with courage, perseverance, and self-belief. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and support your growth. And most importantly, forgive yourself for the time you've spent suppressing your potential. The past doesn't define you. Your actions today do. Suppressing your potential is a slow form of self-destruction. It robs you of joy, breeds jealousy, and keeps you shackled to fear. But by choosing to embrace your potential, you reclaim your power. You transform frustration into fulfillment, regret into resilience, and envy into inspiration. This is the path of the Stoic, to live fully, authentically, and courageously, no matter the challenges. 5. Courage restores. Optimism. After disillusionment. Disillusionment is a profound and often painful experience. It arrives when the facade crumbles, when the illusions we clung to reveal themselves as hollow. It's the moment when the rosy lens through which we viewed life is shattered, leaving behind stark reality. While disillusionment can feel like a betrayal, it's also a turning point, a chance to rebuild something truer and stronger. And at the heart of this transformation lies courage. Disillusionment doesn't discriminate. It can strike in relationships, careers, or even in the grand ideas we held about the world. The realization that something, or someone, wasn't what we believed it to be can leave us feeling bitter, cynical, and hopeless. The optimism we once carried seems like a distant memory, replaced by a protective shell of distrust. But here's the truth. Optimism doesn't die in the face of disillusionment. It hibernates, waiting for courage to wake it. Courage is the bridge between disillusionment and restored optimism. It's not about denying the pain of the experience or pretending everything is fine. Instead, courage invites you to confront the disappointment head-on, to sit with it, and to ask, what can I learn from this? The Stoics understood this well. They didn't shy away from the harshness of life. Instead, they embraced it, using each challenge as an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser. When you muster the courage to face disillusionment, you reclaim your agency. You stop being a passive victim of circumstance and start becoming an active participant in your own life. This shift is transformative. By acknowledging what went wrong and taking responsibility for your part in it, you pave the way for growth. and with growth comes the possibility of hope. Optimism after disillusionment isn't about returning to naive beliefs. It's a deeper, more resilient kind of optimism, one that understands the world's imperfections, yet chooses to move forward anyway. This kind of optimism says, yes, life is messy and unpredictable, but I have the strength to navigate it. Courage restores this optimism by reminding you of your resilience, your capacity to adapt, and your ability to find meaning even in hardship. Consider this. Disillusionment often stems from misplaced expectations. We build castles in the air, only to watch them crumble under the weight of reality. Courage teaches us to rebuild, but this time on solid ground. It encourages us to set realistic expectations, to value authenticity over idealism, and to trust in our ability to weather life's storms. In doing so, it restores not only optimism, but also a sense of purpose. Courage doesn't eliminate fear, it coexists with it. When you step forward after disillusionment, fear will undoubtedly accompany you. But courage whispers, take the step anyway. Each act of bravery, no matter how small, chips away at cynicism and rebuilds faith. Not blind faith, but faith rooted in your own strength and the lessons you've learned. Ultimately, courage transforms disillusionment into a catalyst for growth. It turns despair into determination and bitterness into wisdom. And from this newfound strength emerges a renewed optimism, one that is unshakable because it's grounded in truth, not illusion. This is the optimism of the Stoic, not a denial of life's hardships, but a testament to the power of facing them with courage. 6. Wisdom requires action and engagement. Wisdom is often portrayed as a solitary pursuit, the domain of philosophers sitting in quiet contemplation. While reflection and introspection are essential, true wisdom is not a passive state. It requires action and engagement with the world. Without these, wisdom becomes stagnant, an untapped well of potential rather than a flowing river that nourishes life. The Stoics believed wisdom to be the highest virtue, but they also recognized that it wasn't something you could achieve in isolation. Wisdom is forged in the fires of experience, honed by the challenges you face, and tested in the decisions you make. It's not enough to understand a principle intellectually, you must live it. Wisdom demands that you apply what you know, that you engage with life fully, and that you learn from both your successes and your failures. Imagine a sailor who studies navigation charts and weather patterns but never sets sail. Their knowledge, no matter how vast, remains theoretical. It is only when they take to the sea, facing storms and unpredictable currents, that their knowledge transforms into wisdom. The same is true for us. We can read, reflect, and philosophize, but until we act, our understanding remains incomplete. Engagement with the world doesn't mean abandoning reflection, it means integrating it into your actions. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living according to nature, which includes engaging with the world around you in a meaningful way. Wisdom isn't about retreating from life's messiness. It's about navigating it with clarity and purpose. Action is the proving ground of wisdom. It's easy to espouse virtues like patience, courage, or kindness when life is smooth. But how do you act when faced with adversity, conflict, or uncertainty? These moments test the depth of your understanding and reveal whether your wisdom is genuine or superficial. They are opportunities to align your actions with your values, to embody the principles you claim to hold dear. Engagement also means being present. Wisdom isn't just about grand philosophical ideas. It's about the small, everyday choices you make. It's in how you treat others, how you manage your time, and how you respond to challenges. Each moment is an opportunity to practice wisdom, to turn abstract principles into tangible actions that shape your life and the lives of those around you. Wisdom also requires humility, the recognition that you don't have all the answers and that learning is a lifelong process. This humility opens you to new perspectives, challenges your assumptions, and deepens your understanding. It's through engaging with others, listening, observing, and empathizing that you expand your wisdom. Isolation breeds stagnation, but engagement fosters growth. The Stoics understood that wisdom is a journey, not a destination. It's not something you achieve once and for all, but something you cultivate daily. Each experience, no matter how mundane or profound, is a stepping stone on this path. And while reflection provides direction, action propels you forward. Wisdom without action is like a map without a journey. It holds potential but lacks purpose. By engaging with the world, you bring your wisdom to life. You turn knowledge into understanding, principles into practices, and intentions into impact. This is the essence of wisdom, not a passive state of knowing, but an active way of being. 7. Failure demands introspection for growth. Failure is often regarded as a setback, a reason to retreat, or a mark of inadequacy. However, the Stoics viewed failure as a profound teacher, a necessary and invaluable part of personal growth. To fail is not to fall short of your worth, but to encounter a moment that demands reflection and transformation. The gap between failure and success lies in how you respond to it, and that response begins with introspection. Failure strips away illusions. It lays bare your vulnerabilities, weaknesses, and missteps. While this exposure can feel harsh, it is also an opportunity, a moment to look inward and assess not just what went wrong, but why. Introspection turns failure from a dead end into a crossroads, offering you the chance to choose a better path forward. When you fail, the natural instinct might be to blame external factors, bad timing, unfair circumstances, or the actions of others. While there may be truth in those factors, focusing solely on them robs you of the chance to grow. Introspection redirects your gaze inward, asking the harder but ultimately more rewarding question: what could I have done differently? This isn't about self-criticism for the sake of it. It's about uncovering the lessons hidden within the experience. Consider how a sculptor refines their work. Each strike of the chisel that doesn't yield the desired result isn't a waste. It's a guide. Failure serves a similar purpose. It highlights what isn't working, what needs adjustment, and where your skills, mindset, or strategy require improvement. Without introspection, failure becomes a repetitive cycle. With introspection, it becomes a stepping stone toward mastery. The Stoics were no strangers to failure. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on his shortcomings and struggles, not to wallow in self-pity, but to better align himself with virtue and reason. This practice of self-examination allowed him to navigate the immense pressures of being an emperor with clarity and purpose. Failure, in his eyes, was not an obstacle to growth, but a catalyst for it. Introspection is not an easy process. It requires honesty and humility, the willingness to admit where you went wrong without allowing shame or guilt to take over. It's a delicate balance, holding yourself accountable while also showing yourself compassion. Growth doesn't come from berating yourself. It comes from understanding yourself. Failure also demands patience. The lessons it offers aren't always immediate. You may need to sit with the discomfort, revisit the experience from different angles, and allow time for clarity to emerge. This process can feel slow and even frustrating, but it's through this deliberate introspection that the seeds of growth are planted. Ultimately, failure isn't the end of the road. It's a bend in the journey. Introspection allows you to navigate that bend with wisdom, transforming setbacks into setups for future success. Each failure, no matter how painful, is a chapter in the story of your growth. The key is to read that chapter carefully, extract its lessons, and use them to write a better next one. 8. Growth requires confronting painful flaws. Growth is often romanticized as a journey of self-discovery and improvement, but the reality is far more challenging. True growth demands that you confront your painful flaws, the parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore, hide, or deny. It's not about fixing what's wrong with you to become perfect. It's about embracing the discomfort of self-awareness to become better, step by step. Painful flaws are like thorns buried beneath the surface. They might not be immediately visible, but they're there, causing discomfort and limiting your potential. Confronting them isn't about assigning blame or indulging in self-criticism. Instead, it's about peeling back the layers, examining the source of the pain, and deciding how to move forward with intention. The Stoics were unflinching in their approach to self-improvement. They believed in facing one's shortcomings with courage and clarity, seeing them not as permanent flaws, but as opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, repeatedly reminded himself to examine his actions, thoughts, and emotions with honesty. This practice wasn't about dwelling on mistakes, but about understanding them to act better in the future. Confronting painful flaws is inherently uncomfortable. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to admit that you don't have it all figured out, that you've made mistakes, and that there's room for improvement. This vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. By acknowledging your flaws, you take ownership of them, and in doing so, you reclaim the power to change. Growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. It requires feedback, reflection, and action. Painful flaws often come to light in your interactions with others, in moments of conflict, misunderstanding, or failure. These moments, while difficult, are mirrors reflecting back aspects of yourself that you might not see otherwise. The question is whether you'll use that reflection to grow or to retreat. One of the greatest obstacles to confronting painful flaws is the fear of judgment, both from others and from yourself. It's tempting to bury flaws beneath layers of excuses or rationalizations, convincing yourself that they don't matter or that they're someone else's fault. But growth requires breaking through this defensiveness. It demands that you replace fear with curiosity. Why do I act this way? What drives this behavior? How can I do better? Painful flaws often have roots in past experiences, habits, or beliefs that no longer serve you. Confronting them isn't just about addressing the symptoms. It's about digging deep to uncover the causes. This process can be emotionally taxing, but it's also liberating. Each flaw you confront and work through is a step toward greater self-awareness, resilience, and authenticity. The Stoics understood that growth was a continuous process. There's no endpoint where you've fixed all your flaws and achieved perfection. Instead, growth is about progress, becoming a little wiser, a little stronger, and a little more aligned with your values each day. Confronting painful flaws is an essential part of this journey. It's not about erasing who you are, but about refining who you are becoming. In the end, growth requires courage. Not just the courage to face external challenges, but the courage to look inward and confront the parts of yourself that you'd rather avoid. This is the essence of personal transformation, turning the raw material of your flaws into the foundation of your growth. By embracing this process, you not only improve yourself, but also inspire others to do the same. 9. Aspirations must align with reality. Aspirations fuel our ambitions, shaping our goals and driving us toward the life we desire. However, aspirations disconnected from reality can lead to frustration, disillusionment, and a perpetual sense of failure. For aspirations to truly empower and fulfill, they must be grounded in what is achievable while still stretching the boundaries of our potential. The Stoics understood this balance, emphasizing the importance of aligning one's goals with both personal capacity and the circumstances of the world. When aspirations are out of sync with reality, they become fantasies, enticing yet unattainable. Fantasies may motivate in the short term, but they ultimately lead to despair when the gap between expectation and reality becomes insurmountable. This misalignment can leave you chasing shadows, investing time, energy, and emotion into goals that are simply not possible given your current resources, skills, or situation. The first step toward aligning aspirations with reality is self-awareness. This requires an honest assessment of your strengths, weaknesses, and current circumstances. The Stoics advocated for this practice of self-examination as a way to understand one's true capabilities. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reminded himself to accept the limitations of his human condition while striving to act with virtue and purpose. Aspiring to greatness is noble, but pretending you're invincible is a recipe for burnout and failure. Reality isn't static. It evolves as you grow and change. Aligning aspirations with reality doesn't mean settling for less. It means setting goals that are ambitious yet grounded. This alignment creates a pathway for incremental progress, allowing you to build on small victories rather than becoming overwhelmed by the enormity of an unattainable dream. The Stoics recognized the value of focusing on what is within your control and breaking down large goals into manageable actions. One of the most common pitfalls is adopting aspirations dictated by external pressures rather than internal values. Society often promotes standards of success, wealth, status, appearance that may have little to do with your true desires. Chasing these external benchmarks can lead to a life that feels hollow, no matter how much you achieve. Aligning aspirations with reality also means aligning them with your authentic self. What truly matters to you? What kind of life do you want to live? Aspirations should challenge you without breaking you. They should demand effort and growth while remaining attainable. Imagine trying to lift a weight that's far beyond your capacity. It doesn't strengthen you, it crushes you. Similarly, goals that are too far removed from reality don't inspire progress. They foster frustration. By aligning your aspirations with reality, you create a framework for success that's both meaningful and sustainable. The process of aligning aspirations with reality also involves embracing flexibility. Life is unpredictable and circumstances can change. A rigid attachment to a specific aspiration can lead to unnecessary suffering when things don't go as planned. The Stoics taught the importance of adaptability, adjusting your goals in response to new challenges and opportunities without losing sight of your broader purpose. In the end, aligning aspirations with reality isn't about lowering your standards or giving up on your dreams. It's about ensuring that your efforts are purposeful and directed toward goals that enrich your life. Aspirations that align with reality provide a sense of direction, fulfillment, and progress, allowing you to achieve not just success, but also inner peace. 10. Fraudulent. Success is hollow. Success is often seen as the pinnacle of achievement, a marker of one's value and capabilities. Yet, success built on fraudulence, whether through deceit, shortcuts, or superficiality, is empty. It may shine brightly in the moment, but it lacks the substance to endure. Fraudulent success is a house of cards, vulnerable to the slightest breeze of truth or scrutiny. The Stoics, champions of virtue and integrity, would argue that such success is not success at all. Fraudulent success is seductive. It offers the illusion of accomplishment without the effort, discipline, or growth required for true achievement. It tempts you to take shortcuts, bend the rules, or present a facade that hides the reality of your situation. In doing so, it sacrifices long-term fulfillment for short-term validation. However, the satisfaction it provides is fleeting, leaving behind a sense of emptiness and, often, regret. True success is built on a foundation of effort, resilience, and authenticity. It's the result of confronting challenges, learning from failures, and persevering through adversity. Fraudulent success bypasses these vital steps, depriving you of the growth and self-respect that come with genuine achievement. You might fool others with the appearance of success, but deep down you'll know the truth, and that truth has a way of eating away at your sense of worth. Fraudulence also comes with consequences. Deception, whether of others or yourself, creates a web of lies that becomes increasingly difficult to maintain. The energy required to sustain the illusion can drain you, leaving little room for genuine progress. Moreover, fraudulent success often invites scrutiny. When the truth inevitably comes to light, the fall from grace can be devastating, not just to your reputation, but also to your sense of self. The Stoics valued integrity above all else. They believed that living in accordance with virtue was the highest form of success, regardless of external recognition or reward. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of aligning one's actions with moral principles, reminding himself that the opinions of others were irrelevant compared to the state of his own character. Fraudulent success, by its very nature, violates this principle, prioritizing external validation over internal integrity. Fraudulence also creates a barrier to meaningful connections. Success achieved dishonestly isolates you, as it's built on a foundation of mistrust. Authentic relationships, whether personal or professional, are rooted in mutual respect and honesty. When your success is fraudulent, you risk alienating those who matter most, as they come to see the deception beneath the surface. The pursuit of fraudulent success is ultimately self-defeating. It undermines your confidence, as you know your accomplishments are not truly your own. It fosters a cycle of insecurity, where you feel compelled to maintain the facade for fear of being exposed. True success, on the other hand, builds confidence and resilience. It's the result of aligning your actions with your values, working diligently toward your goals, and accepting the challenges that come with growth. To reject fraudulent success is to embrace authenticity. It's choosing the harder but more rewarding path, the one that demands effort, honesty, and courage. The rewards of genuine success extend beyond external recognition. They include self-respect, inner peace, and the knowledge that your achievements are a reflection of your true self. Fraudulent success may offer momentary gratification, but only authentic success provides lasting fulfillment. 11. Fame amplifies personal struggles. Fame often carries a seductive allure, promising recognition, admiration, and a sense of validation. Yet, beneath its glittering surface lies a paradox. Fame not only magnifies external attention, but also intensifies internal struggles. It acts like a magnifying glass, enlarging both the best and worst aspects of your life. The Stoics, who emphasized inner strength and detachment from external validation, would remind us that fame is not a remedy for personal struggles. It's often an amplifier. When you achieve fame, your flaws, insecurities, and vulnerabilities become public property. The aspects of yourself that you may have kept private are suddenly exposed to a world eager to scrutinize, judge, and dissect. The praise can feel intoxicating, but the criticism can be brutal, leaving you vulnerable to self-doubt and despair. Fame offers no hiding place. It shines a harsh spotlight on your every move, forcing you to confront your struggles in the most public of arenas. Fame also brings with it an inherent pressure to maintain a certain image or persona. The world's expectations can become a cage, constraining your freedom to evolve or express yourself authentically. In trying to meet the demands of others, you risk losing touch with your true self. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, warned against placing value on external validation. They taught that true peace comes from within, not from the fleeting approval of others. Moreover, fame often isolates. The higher you climb, the fewer people you feel you can trust. Genuine relationships become harder to maintain as people project their expectations or agendas onto you. This isolation can exacerbate personal struggles, leaving you to navigate your challenges without the grounding support of authentic connections. Fame also intensifies the stakes of personal failure. Mistakes that might have been minor in obscurity are magnified in the public eye, often leading to disproportionate backlash. The Stoics advocated for resilience in the face of adversity, understanding that external circumstances are beyond our control. Fame, however, makes it more difficult to practice this detachment, as public opinion looms large over every decision. The key to navigating the challenges of fame is cultivating inner strength and staying anchored in your values. Fame may amplify struggles, but it doesn't have to define your experience. By focusing on what truly matters, integrity, purpose, and personal growth, you can navigate the pressures of fame without losing yourself. Marcus Aurelius, despite being one of the most powerful figures of his time, constantly reminded himself to remain humble and grounded, recognizing that fame was fleeting and inconsequential in the grand scheme of life. Ultimately, fame is neither inherently good nor bad. It's a tool that can be wielded wisely or recklessly. Its amplifying nature means that the work you do on yourself becomes even more crucial. Fame may draw attention to your struggles, but it also offers an opportunity to rise above them, demonstrating resilience and authenticity in a world that often values appearance over substance. True greatness lies not in how many people know your name, but in how well you navigate the challenges that fame amplifies. 12. Incremental growth prevents paralysis. Growth, particularly self-improvement, is often portrayed as a dramatic transformation, a single, life-altering moment that propels you to new heights. However, the reality is much quieter and more gradual. Incremental growth, the kind that happens step by step, is not only more sustainable, but also crucial for overcoming the paralysis that can accompany overwhelming change. The Stoics, who emphasized the importance of consistent action, understood that small, deliberate steps are the foundation of lasting progress. When faced with a significant challenge or a lofty goal, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. The sheer scale of what lies ahead can paralyze you, leaving you stuck in a cycle of procrastination and doubt. Incremental growth provides an antidote to this paralysis. By breaking down larger goals into manageable tasks, you create a path forward that feels achievable rather than insurmountable. Each small step builds momentum, turning hesitation into action. The Stoics recognize the power of focusing on what is within your control. Incremental growth aligns perfectly with this principle, as it shifts your attention away from the daunting entirety of a goal and toward the specific actions you can take today. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that life is lived moment by moment, and progress is made through the accumulation of small victories. Incremental growth also fosters resilience. Each small step reinforces your ability to handle challenges, building confidence and a sense of accomplishment. This cumulative effect strengthens your belief in your capacity to succeed, even when the ultimate goal feels distant. The Stoics valued this type of perseverance, seeing it as a testament to one's character and determination. Importantly, incremental growth allows for adjustment and learning. When you take small steps, you have the opportunity to evaluate your progress and make necessary changes. This adaptability ensures that your efforts remain aligned with your goals, even as circumstances evolve. In contrast, grand sweeping changes often leave little room for flexibility, increasing the risk of failure. Another advantage of incremental growth is that it reduces the fear of failure. Small steps carry less risk, making it easier to take action without the paralyzing worry of catastrophic mistakes. The Stoics taught that failure is not something to be feared, but rather an opportunity to learn and improve. Incremental growth embodies this philosophy, as it encourages experimentation and learning through action. Incremental growth nurtures patience and discipline. It teaches you to value the process rather than fixating solely on the outcome. This mindset aligns with the Stoic belief in focusing on the journey rather than the destination. By embracing the steady rhythm of incremental progress, you develop the mental fortitude to persevere, even when results are not immediate. In a world that often celebrates instant gratification, incremental growth may seem unglamorous, yet it is the most reliable path to meaningful and lasting change. The Stoics understood that greatness is built not in moments of glory, but in the quiet, consistent effort of daily practice. Incremental growth prevents paralysis by transforming overwhelming goals into a series of achievable actions, empowering you to move forward with confidence and purpose. 13. Greatness comes with unseen sacrifices. Greatness often appears glamorous from a distance, adorned with accolades, admiration, and the perception of extraordinary achievement. Yet beneath the surface lies a reality that many overlook. Greatness demands sacrifices, many of which remain unseen. The Stoics, who emphasized the virtues of discipline, endurance, and purpose, would remind us that every step toward greatness comes at a cost, and that these sacrifices often define the worth of the journey. True greatness is not a product of sheer talent or luck. It is forged in the quiet moments of effort, resilience, and choice. Every great accomplishment involves trade-offs, whether it's sacrificing time, comfort, or the approval of others. These sacrifices are often invisible to the outside world, but they weigh heavily on the individual pursuing their goal. The late-night work sessions, the rejection of fleeting pleasures, the the difficult decisions that prioritize long-term vision over short-term gratification. These are the building blocks of greatness. Consider the sacrifices that go unnoticed by most. The moments when you choose discipline over indulgence, or when you endure solitude because your path is too demanding for others to walk alongside you. These unseen struggles shape character and build the inner strength necessary for enduring success. The Stoics believed in focusing on what truly matters, even if it means letting go of superficial pleasures. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the importance of living in alignment with one's higher values, regardless of the external cost. Greatness also demands emotional sacrifices. To reach extraordinary heights, you must often endure criticism, doubt, and even betrayal. These challenges test your resilience and commitment, forcing you to confront your deepest fears and insecurities. The Stoics would argue that these trials are not obstacles, but opportunities to grow stronger. Epictetus taught that adversity reveals the true measure of a person, and greatness is achieved not despite these sacrifices, but because of them. Moreover, greatness requires the sacrifice of comfort. The pursuit of excellence pushes you to step outside your comfort zone, to face uncertainty and discomfort head-on. The Stoic principle of voluntary discomfort aligns perfectly with this idea. By willingly embracing challenges, you prepare yourself for the inevitable sacrifices that greatness demands. This practice strengthens your resolve and fosters a mindset of endurance, allowing you to persevere when others might falter. Greatness also asks for sacrifices in relationships. The time and energy devoted to achieving significant goals often come at the expense of personal connections. This does not mean neglecting those you care about, but it does require setting boundaries and managing expectations. The Stoics emphasize the importance of balance, reminding us that while personal ambition is valuable, it should not come at the cost of neglecting our duty to others. The sacrifices that accompany greatness are not merely burdens, they are investments. Every moment of discomfort, every choice to prioritize purpose over ease, contributes to the development of a person capable of achieving remarkable things. The key is to recognize these sacrifices not as losses, but as essential steps on the path to fulfillment. The Stoic perspective teaches us to embrace these challenges with gratitude, understanding that they refine and strengthen us. Ultimately, greatness is not about avoiding sacrifices, but about choosing the right ones. It is about understanding that the path to extraordinary achievement is paved with decisions that require courage, commitment, and a willingness to endure hardship. The unseen sacrifices may go unnoticed by others, but they are the foundation upon which greatness is built. The Stoics remind us to focus not on what we give up, but on what we gain, a life of purpose, integrity, and meaning. 14. Criticism reveals flaws and opportunities. Criticism is one of life's most misunderstood gifts. While it often stings in the moment, it holds the potential to illuminate truths about ourselves that we might otherwise ignore. The Stoics, who valued self-awareness and continuous improvement, understood that criticism, even when delivered harshly, can serve as a powerful tool for growth, if we have the courage to embrace it. When faced with criticism, the natural reaction is defensiveness. It's tempting to dismiss the feedback or attack the person delivering it. However, the Stoics would argue that this reaction stems from ego, not wisdom. Marcus Aurelius advised examining criticism with a calm and open mind, separating what is true from what is not. This mindset transforms criticism from an attack into an opportunity for introspection and self-improvement. Criticism acts as a mirror, reflecting aspects of ourselves that we may not see clearly. It reveals flaws that, if left unchecked, could hinder our growth. The Stoics encouraged self-reflection as a daily practice, and criticism offers a shortcut to uncovering areas where improvement is needed. Even when the feedback is exaggerated or unfair, there may still be a kernel of truth worth examining. One of the greatest opportunities that criticism provides is the chance to refine your character. Responding to criticism with humility and grace demonstrates emotional maturity and inner strength. The Stoics believed that how you respond to adversity, including criticism, reveals your true nature. By viewing criticism as a challenge rather than a threat, you cultivate resilience and poise. Criticism also sharpens your skills and decision-making. Whether it comes from a mentor, a peer, or even an adversary, constructive criticism offers insights that can enhance your performance. The key is to approach it with an open mind and a willingness to learn. Epictetus advised focusing on what is within your control, and your response to criticism falls squarely within that domain. By using feedback as a tool for growth, you turn potential setbacks into stepping stones. Even malicious criticism can be valuable. While the intent behind it may be negative, it can still highlight vulnerabilities or blind spots that need attention. The Stoics taught that we cannot control others' actions, but we can control how we interpret and respond to them. By adopting this perspective, you can extract lessons even from unfair or hostile feedback. Criticism also serves as a reminder that perfection is unattainable. It humbles us, reminding us that we are all works in progress. The Stoics valued progress over perfection, emphasizing that the journey of self-improvement is lifelong. Criticism, when viewed through this lens, becomes not a source of shame, but a catalyst for growth. To fully benefit from criticism, you must cultivate a mindset of detachment and curiosity. Detachment allows you to separate the content of the criticism from its emotional impact, enabling you to evaluate it objectively. Curiosity encourages you to explore the feedback with an open mind, seeking insights that can enhance your understanding and performance. Criticism is not always easy to hear, but it is a necessary part of growth. The Stoics remind us that discomfort often accompanies progress, and criticism is no exception. By welcoming it as a teacher rather than fearing it as a foe, you unlock its potential to reveal flaws and opportunities. In doing so, you not only improve yourself, but also demonstrate the wisdom and resilience that the Stoics so deeply admired. 15. Hostility and challenges can lead to personal growth and opportunities. Hostility and challenges often arrive uninvited, disrupting our comfort and plans. At first glance, they may seem like barriers, threatening to derail our progress or peace of mind. Yet, as the Stoics taught, these very obstacles can become the raw material for personal growth and hidden opportunities, if we approach them with the right mindset. The Stoic philosophy, particularly as articulated by Marcus Aurelius, emphasizes the transformative potential of adversity. In his Meditations, Aurelius reflects on the idea that what stands in the way becomes the way. Challenges and hostility, rather than being insurmountable roadblocks, can serve as teachers, shaping our character and refining our resilience. They force us to tap into strengths we may not have realized we possess, offering us the chance to rise above circumstances rather than be defined by them. When faced with hostility, be it from individuals or situations, The initial reaction is often one of resistance or anger. It is natural to want to fight back, to defend our ground or retaliate. But the Stoics advise against letting emotions dictate our actions. Instead, they encourage us to pause and consider, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Hostility, when approached with a calm and thoughtful perspective, often reveals underlying truths about ourselves and others, offering insights that might otherwise remain hidden. Challenges, too, are fertile ground for growth. They demand creativity, perseverance, and adaptability, qualities that only develop through experience. Consider how muscles grow stronger through resistance. The same principle applies to the mind and spirit. Without challenges, there is no impetus for improvement. The Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort, deliberately exposing oneself to minor adversities, prepares us for life's inevitable difficulties, making us more capable of handling them when they arise. Hostility and challenges also present opportunities to redefine our goals and values. When things don't go as planned, we are often forced to re-evaluate our priorities, stripping away what is unnecessary and focusing on what truly matters. This process of refinement, though uncomfortable, leads to clarity and purpose. As Epictetus noted, it is not the events themselves, but our interpretation of them that determines their impact. By reframing challenges as opportunities, we shift from a mindset of victimhood to one of empowerment. Moreover, adversity often reveals opportunities that would otherwise remain hidden. Hostility can highlight weaknesses in our strategies or relationships, prompting us to address them and become stronger. Challenges can open doors to new paths, pushing us out of our comfort zones and into realms of potential we might never have explored willingly. The Stoics remind us that every challenge carries within it the seed of an opportunity. It is up to us to nurture it. The key to unlocking the growth and opportunities within hostility and challenges lies in our mindset. By cultivating patience, resilience, and a focus on long-term growth, we can transform adversity into a source of strength. Hostility need not harden us. Instead, it can sharpen us, making us more compassionate, insightful, and capable. Challenges need not break us. They can build us, helping us reach heights we might never have imagined. Ultimately, the Stoics teach that adversity is not an enemy to be feared, but a companion on the journey of life. Hostility and challenges, when embraced with courage and wisdom, become stepping stones to personal growth and untapped opportunities. They remind us of our capacity to endure, adapt, and thrive, qualities that define the truly great among us. 16. Short-term gratification leads to long-term despair. Short-term gratification is alluring. A quick win, an instant high, a fleeting escape from discomfort. Whether it's indulging in unhealthy habits, avoiding difficult decisions, or chasing momentary pleasures, the appeal of immediate satisfaction is undeniable. Yet, as the Stoics understood, these fleeting rewards often pave the way to long-term despair, eroding our well-being and hindering our growth. The Stoics emphasized the importance of discipline and foresight, virtues that stand in stark contrast to the pursuit of short-term gratification. They taught that true happiness and fulfillment come not from satisfying fleeting desires, but from aligning our actions with our higher values and long-term goals. The allure of instant pleasure, while tempting, often distracts us from what truly matters, leading to regret and dissatisfaction. Consider the nature of short-term gratification. It promises relief, But this relief is often superficial and temporary. A night of overindulgence might feel good in the moment, but the consequences, a hangover, poor health, or a loss of self-respect, linger far longer. Avoiding a challenging conversation may provide temporary peace, but it leaves underlying issues unresolved, leading to greater conflict down the line. The Stoics would argue that these choices, though easy in the moment, rob us of the deeper satisfaction that comes from living with integrity and purpose. The pursuit of short-term gratification often stems from a desire to avoid discomfort. Whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, discomfort is an inevitable part of life. Yet, the Stoics teach that embracing discomfort is the path to growth. By choosing the harder but more meaningful path, we cultivate resilience, self-control, and a sense of accomplishment. In contrast, yielding to short-term gratification weakens our resolve, making it harder to resist future temptations and eroding our confidence in ourselves. Short-term gratification also undermines our ability to plan and achieve long-term goals. Each time we choose the immediate reward over the greater good, we delay progress and create obstacles for ourselves. The Stoic practice of mindfulness, being fully aware of the present moment and its implications, helps us resist these impulses. By considering the long-term consequences of our actions, we can make choices that align with our deeper aspirations. The long-term despair that arises from short-term gratification is not just about external consequences, it is also internal. When we act against our values or neglect our potential, we create a sense of dissonance within ourselves. This inner conflict breeds dissatisfaction, self-doubt, and even shame. The Stoics remind us that true peace comes from living in harmony with our principles, even when it requires sacrifice. Escaping the cycle of short-term gratification requires discipline and perspective. The Stoics encourage us to practice self-control and delay gratification, recognizing that the rewards of patience and perseverance far outweigh the fleeting pleasure of immediate indulgence. They also remind us to focus on what is within our control, our choices, attitudes, and actions, rather than seeking external validation or comfort. Ultimately, the pursuit of short-term gratification is a trap, one that promises happiness but delivers only fleeting satisfaction and lasting regret. By embracing the Stoic principles of discipline, mindfulness, and foresight, we can resist this temptation and choose a path that leads to true fulfillment. In doing so, we cultivate the strength, wisdom, and resilience necessary for a life of meaning and purpose. 17. Avoidance of responsibility results in aimlessness. Responsibility is the cornerstone of a purposeful life. Yet many of us shy away from it, lured by the illusion of freedom that avoidance seems to offer. Whether it's evading difficult tasks, dodging commitments, or failing to own up to our choices, the habit of avoiding responsibility leads not to liberation, but to aimlessness. The Stoics understood that responsibility, far from being a burden, is what gives life direction, meaning, and fulfillment. At its core, responsibility is about accountability, not just to others, but to ourselves. It means taking ownership of our actions, decisions, and their consequences. Avoiding responsibility might feel like a reprieve in the moment, but over time, it erodes our sense of self-worth. When we neglect our duties, we create a void where purpose should reside. This void is often filled with regret, dissatisfaction, and a nagging sense of incompleteness. Aimlessness is the natural consequence of avoiding responsibility. Without a clear sense of purpose or direction, we drift through life, reacting to circumstances rather than shaping them. The Stoics taught that a life without purpose is a life wasted. Purpose is not something bestowed upon us. It is something we cultivate through our actions, commitments, and willingness to take responsibility. When we shy away from this, we deny ourselves the opportunity to grow, learn, and achieve. Responsibility also anchors us in reality. It forces us to confront the truth about ourselves, our strengths, and our limitations. This confrontation can be uncomfortable, but it is also empowering. By acknowledging our role in our successes and failures, we gain the clarity needed to make better choices and improve. Avoidance, on the other hand, keeps us trapped in a cycle of denial and stagnation, preventing us from reaching our potential. The Stoics remind us that responsibility is not just about fulfilling obligations. It is about taking control of our lives. When we take responsibility, we move from being passive recipients of life's circumstances to active participants in shaping our destiny. This shift requires effort, discipline, and a willingness to face challenges head-on. But the reward is a life of purpose, clarity, and self-respect. Avoiding responsibility also impacts our relationships and communities. When we neglect our duties, we place additional burdens on others, straining bonds and eroding trust. Conversely, when we embrace responsibility, we contribute to the well-being of those around us, fostering mutual respect and cooperation. Responsibility, therefore, is not just a personal virtue, but a social one, essential for building meaningful connections and a harmonious society. Escaping the trap of avoidance begins with a mindset shift. The Stoics encourage us to view responsibility not as a burden, but as an opportunity, a chance to grow, contribute, and lead a meaningful life. This requires courage, self-reflection, and a commitment to living in alignment with our values. It means saying yes to the hard work of being accountable and no to the fleeting comfort of avoidance. Ultimately, responsibility is what gives life its weight and significance. By embracing it, we find direction and purpose, transforming aimlessness into fulfillment. The Stoics teach us that responsibility is not something to fear, but to welcome. It is through taking responsibility for our actions and choices that we discover who we are and who we are capable of becoming. 18. True courage requires embracing discomfort and accountability. Courage is often romanticized as an act of heroism, a dramatic gesture in the face of danger or adversity. But true courage is quieter, subtler, and far more profound. It is the willingness to embrace discomfort, take accountability, and face life's challenges with resilience and integrity. For the Stoics, courage is not just a momentary act of bravery, but a way of being, a foundational virtue that underpins all others. Discomfort is an inevitable part of life. Whether it's physical pain, emotional hardship, or the fear of the unknown, discomfort tests our resolve and challenges our limits. The instinct to avoid it is natural, but the Stoics teach that avoidance only prolongs our suffering. True courage lies in confronting discomfort head-on, not because it is pleasant, but because it is necessary for growth and fulfillment. By stepping into discomfort, we expand our capacity to endure, adapt, and thrive. Accountability is equally integral to courage. It requires us to own our actions, decisions, and their consequences, good or bad. This is no small task. It means acknowledging our mistakes, facing criticism, and taking responsibility for our impact on others. Accountability can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is the bedrock of trust, integrity, and self-respect. Without it, courage becomes hollow, a facade rather than a virtue. The Stoics viewed courage as the ability to act rightly despite fear or difficulty. This perspective shifts the focus from external achievements to internal strength. Courage is not about being fearless. It is about acting despite fear. It is about prioritizing what is right over what is easy, even when the stakes are high or the path is uncertain. This kind of courage requires not just bravery, but wisdom, discipline, and a commitment to one's principles. Embracing discomfort and accountability also means rejecting the allure of shortcuts and easy solutions. It is tempting to take the path of least resistance, to avoid challenges or shift blame onto others. But these choices, while convenient in the short term, undermine our character and potential. The Stoics remind us that the harder path is often the more rewarding one. It is through struggle and perseverance that we build resilience, strength, and a sense of accomplishment. Courage also involves vulnerability, the willingness to be seen, to take risks, and to open ourselves to the possibility of failure. This vulnerability is not weakness. It is a testament to our humanity and our commitment to growth. By embracing vulnerability, we show the courage to be authentic, to learn from our mistakes, and to connect with others on a deeper level. True courage is not confined to grand gestures or dramatic moments. It is present in everyday choices, in the decision to speak the truth, to stand up for one's values, to take responsibility for one's actions, and to face life's challenges with grace. It is found in the willingness to endure discomfort for the sake of a greater good, and to hold oneself accountable in the pursuit of integrity. The Stoics teach that courage is not an end in itself, but a means to a higher purpose. It enables us to live in alignment with our values, contribute to the well-being of others, and find fulfillment in the face of adversity. By cultivating courage, we not only overcome fear and discomfort, but also discover our strength, resilience, and potential. In the end, courage is not about being invincible. It's about being willing. Willing to face discomfort, to take accountability, and to act in accordance with our principles, even when it is difficult. It is through this willingness that we find true freedom, strength, and the ability to live a life of meaning and purpose. 19. Proper identity is found in responsibility, community, and commitments. Who are we without the roles we play, the people we serve, and the promises we keep? Identity is not just a self-contained idea of who we are. It is shaped, tested, and refined through our responsibilities, our communities, and our commitments. For the Stoics, this was an essential truth. A person's sense of self is deeply intertwined with how they engage with the world, the duties they uphold, and the relationships they nurture. Responsibility is where identity begins. It is through taking ownership of our actions and their consequences that we define ourselves. To shirk responsibility is to live without a compass, drifting aimlessly and missing the opportunity to discover who we truly are. Responsibility gives structure to our lives, teaching us discipline, perseverance, and the satisfaction of meaningful work. Whether it's fulfilling professional obligations, supporting loved ones, or contributing to a cause greater than ourselves, embracing responsibility reveals our character and strengthens our sense of purpose. Community is the next pillar of identity. We are not isolated beings. We exist in a web of relationships that shape us just as we shape them. The Stoics emphasized the importance of living in harmony with others, not as a duty imposed from the outside, but as an intrinsic part of being human. Our communities, families, friendships, workplaces, and societies provide a mirror through which we see ourselves. They challenge us to grow, hold us accountable, and offer us the chance to serve something beyond our own self-interest. Commitments, too, are integral to identity. What we commit to reveals what we value, whether it's a lifelong relationship, a career goal, or a personal principle. Our commitments anchor us in the face of uncertainty. They give our lives coherence and direction, reminding us of who we are and who we aspire to be. But commitments require effort and sacrifice. They demand that we prioritize long-term goals over fleeting pleasures, that we endure discomfort in the service of something greater. In doing so, they refine our character and deepen our understanding of ourselves. Without responsibility, community, and commitments, identity becomes shallow and fragmented. We may cling to external markers of success, status, possessions, or appearance, but these are hollow substitutes for a life lived in alignment with our values and connected to others. The Stoics remind us that true identity is not found in isolation or self-indulgence. It is found in how we engage with the world, in the roles we choose to play, and in the principles we uphold. Embracing responsibility, community, and commitments is not always easy. It requires effort, resilience, and a willingness to face challenges. But it is through these efforts that we find meaning, fulfillment, and a sense of self that is rooted in something enduring. The Stoics teach us that identity is not something we discover passively. It is something we actively create through the choices we make and the lives we lead. When we take responsibility, we claim our agency. When we participate in our communities, we find belonging. When we honor our commitments, we align our actions with our values. In doing so, we not only shape our identity, but also create a life of purpose and integrity. Proper identity is not about who we are in isolation. It is about who we are in relation to the world and the people around us. 20. Raising children or building relationships requires short-term discomfort for long-term thriving. Few endeavors are as rewarding and as challenging as raising children or building meaningful relationships. Both require us to navigate the delicate balance between immediate comfort and long-term well-being. The Stoics understood that true growth and fulfillment often come at the cost of temporary discomfort. Whether it's the patience needed to nurture a child or the resilience required to maintain a deep connection, the rewards of thriving relationships are built on a foundation of effort and sacrifice. Raising children is perhaps the ultimate exercise in embracing short-term discomfort for long-term thriving. From sleepless nights to endless questions, parenting demands constant energy, attention, and adaptability. But each challenge presents an opportunity to teach, guide, and shape the next generation. The frustrations of today, correcting a behavior, setting boundaries, or explaining difficult truths, are investments in a child's future. They require us to think beyond the immediate moment, to prioritize what is right over what is easy, and to accept that discomfort is an inherent part of growth. Similarly, building and maintaining relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, requires effort and endurance. Conflicts will arise, misunderstandings will occur, and moments of vulnerability will test our courage. It is tempting to avoid these challenges, to retreat into superficial interactions, or to abandon connections at the first sign of difficulty. But the Stoics remind us that meaningful relationships are forged through perseverance, honesty, and a willingness to confront discomfort head-on. It is through these struggles that trust is built, bonds are strengthened, and love is deepened. Short-term discomfort in relationships often stems from the need to address difficult issues, having hard conversations, setting boundaries, or admitting mistakes. These moments can be painful, but they are necessary for the health and longevity of the relationship. Avoiding them may provide temporary relief, but it comes at the cost of unresolved tensions, growing resentment, and ultimately, disconnection. The Stoics teach us that true courage lies in facing these challenges with integrity and openness, knowing that the effort will lead to greater understanding and closeness. Patience is another essential ingredient for long-term thriving. Whether it's giving a child the time they need to learn and grow, or allowing a relationship to evolve at its own pace, patience teaches us to embrace the journey rather than rush toward the destination. This requires us to let go of control, to accept that progress is often slow and non-linear, and to trust that the effort we put in will bear fruit in time. Ultimately, the discomfort we face in raising children or building relationships is a small price to pay for the rewards of connection, love, and shared growth. These efforts remind us of what truly matters in life. Not fleeting pleasures or superficial achievements, but the bonds we form and the legacies we leave behind. The Stoics encourage us to view these challenges not as burdens, but as opportunities to practice virtue, patience, resilience, and selflessness. In the end, the discomfort is temporary, but the impact is lasting. By embracing the hard work of nurturing relationships and raising children, we contribute to something far greater than ourselves. We create a foundation for thriving, not just for those we care for, but for ourselves as well. The Stoics remind us that true fulfillment comes from living in alignment with our values, and there are few values more worthy than love, connection, and the commitment to help others thrive. 21. True mental health requires meaningful social and moral frameworks. In an era that glorifies independence and self-reliance, it's easy to overlook the foundational role that social and moral frameworks play in mental health. The Stoics, however, recognize that human beings are inherently social creatures, deeply influenced by their relationships and the values they hold. True mental health is not merely the absence of stress or anxiety. It is the presence of a meaningful life, rooted in connection and guided by principles that provide direction and purpose. At the core of this truth lies the understanding that isolation breeds despair. While solitude can offer moments of reflection and clarity, prolonged disconnection from others erodes the foundation of mental well-being. Social frameworks, families, friendships, communities, act as a support system, providing encouragement, accountability, and a sense of belonging. They remind us that we are part of something larger than ourselves, that our struggles and triumphs are shared, and that we are not alone in facing life's challenges. But social connection alone is not enough. It must be complemented by a moral framework that gives life coherence and integrity. Morality provides the compass by which we navigate the complexities of existence, helping us distinguish right from wrong, prioritize what truly matters, and align our actions with our values. Without a moral framework, we risk drifting through life, vulnerable to confusion, guilt, and regret. A clear set of guiding principles, whether derived from Stoicism, religion, or personal philosophy, anchors us in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain. Mental health also requires a balance between self-interest and selflessness. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living in harmony with others, not by sacrificing our needs, but by recognizing the interconnectedness of all human beings. Acts of kindness, service, and compassion not only benefit others, but also nourish our own sense of purpose and fulfillment. Conversely, selfishness and a lack of concern for others can lead to isolation, dissatisfaction, and a hollow existence. The absence of meaningful social and moral frameworks often manifests as a sense of emptiness or aimlessness. This is why so many people, despite having material success or personal freedom, feel unfulfilled. The Stoics remind us that true happiness and mental health arise not from external achievements, but from internal alignment with our values, our relationships, and our place in the larger tapestry of humanity. However, embracing these frameworks requires effort. It means investing in relationships, even when they are challenging. It means living according to principles, even when it is inconvenient. And it means accepting that we are part of a greater whole, with responsibilities that extend beyond our individual desires. This effort is not a burden, but a path to liberation, a way to transcend the limitations of self-centered thinking and find joy in connection, contribution, and coherence. True mental health is not a solitary endeavor. It is cultivated through meaningful engagement with others and a steadfast commitment to values that elevate the human spirit. By embracing social and moral frameworks, we create a life that is not only resilient in the face of adversity, but also rich with purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. 22. Maturity is tied to embracing responsibilities beyond oneself. Maturity is often misunderstood as a matter of age or experience, but in reality, it is defined by the ability to take responsibility for things that extend beyond our immediate needs and desires. The Stoics understood maturity not as an endpoint, but as a process, a journey of growth marked by the willingness to shoulder responsibilities that serve others, contribute to the greater good, and uphold principles that transcend personal gain. At its heart, maturity is about recognizing that life is not just about me, it's about the we that we are a part of, our families, our communities, and the broader world. Immaturity clings to self-centeredness, viewing life through the narrow lens of individual wants and comforts. Maturity, on the other hand, expands our perspective, allowing us to see how our actions ripple outward and impact those around us. Taking responsibility beyond oneself requires courage. It means stepping into roles that may be unfamiliar, uncomfortable, or demanding. It means making sacrifices of time, energy, and even personal preferences for the sake of something greater. Whether it's raising a child, supporting a partner, mentoring a colleague, or serving a cause, these responsibilities challenge us to grow, adapt, and develop qualities like patience, resilience, and humility. But why is embracing such responsibilities essential for maturity? Because it is through these acts of service that we develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. Responsibility teaches us to prioritize, to persevere, and to find meaning in the contributions we make. It pushes us beyond the superficial pursuit of pleasure or status, guiding us toward a life of substance and significance. Avoiding responsibility, on the other hand, stunts growth. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of short-term gratification and leaves us ill-equipped to handle life's complexities. It also breeds dissatisfaction, as a life centered solely on oneself often lacks the depth and connection that come from serving others. The Stoics remind us that fulfillment lies in living virtuously, and virtue often requires us to act not out of self-interest, but out of a sense of duty and care for others. Maturity also involves the acceptance of impermanence and unpredictability. Responsibilities are not always easy, nor do they guarantee immediate rewards. A mature person understands this, approaching their duties with grace and persistence, even when the outcomes are uncertain. This mindset reflects the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within our control, our actions, our attitudes, while letting go of attachment to outcomes. Ultimately, maturity is not about having all the answers or achieving perfection. It is about showing up for life with integrity, generosity, and a willingness to bear the weight of responsibility. It is about seeing beyond oneself and contributing to the flourishing of others. And in doing so, it is about becoming not just older, but wiser, more compassionate, and more aligned with the deeper purpose of being human. 23. A person becomes what they practice consistently. Human beings are creatures of habit, shaped not by their occasional actions, but by the behaviors and thoughts they engage in consistently. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth about human nature. What you repeatedly do, think, or feel determines the person you become. Your habits, not your intentions, ultimately define your character and destiny. Consistency is a powerful force. Whether it's a daily practice of kindness, regular exercise, or the persistent cultivation of gratitude, the small, repeated actions in your life accumulate over time to form the essence of who you are. This process works both ways. It can build a person of virtue and strength, or it can create someone mired in vice and weakness. The habits you nurture are the seeds you plant, and the harvest you reap depends entirely on your daily choices. Consider the analogy of a sculptor working on a block of marble. Each chisel strike may seem insignificant in isolation, but over time, those small actions shape the stone into a masterpiece or a misshapen form if approached carelessly. Similarly, your daily actions may appear trivial in the moment, but they are the strokes of your own life sculpture, shaping the person you are becoming. However, cultivating consistency is not easy. It requires discipline, focus, and the willingness to persevere even when motivation wanes. This is where the Stoics excel. They emphasize the importance of showing up for life every single day with purpose and intention. They remind us that we cannot wait for inspiration to strike or for the right moment to act. The present moment is all we ever have, and what we do with it matters profoundly. But consistency also demands self-awareness. It requires recognizing the habits and practices that are harmful or unproductive and replacing them with those that align with your values and goals. For example, if you consistently indulge in negative self-talk, over time, it erodes your confidence and shapes your identity as someone who doubts their worth. Conversely, if you consistently speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement, you build a foundation of self-respect and inner strength. The Stoics teach us that consistency is not just about external actions, but also about internal discipline. Practicing gratitude daily transforms your perspective, while consistently examining your thoughts and emotions builds clarity and resilience. Even when faced with setbacks or challenges, the practice of persistence keeps you aligned with your path. The beauty of this truth is its universality. No matter your circumstances, you always have the power to choose your habits and practices. You may not control every situation in life, but you do control how you respond, what you prioritize, and what you practice consistently. These choices shape the essence of who you are and who you will become. So, reflect on the habits you practice daily. Are they leading you toward the person you want to be? If not, what small changes can you make today to shift your trajectory? Remember, every moment is an opportunity to practice something. Patience, kindness, courage, or discipline. Over time, these small, consistent actions will define your character, your values, and your legacy. 24. True happiness stems from aligning with transcendent values. Happiness is a concept often misunderstood in modern society. Many people chase fleeting pleasures, material success, or external validation, believing these will bring lasting fulfillment. Yet, the Stoics recognized that true happiness does not come from these transient pursuits. Instead, it arises from living in alignment with transcendent values, principles that go beyond personal gratification and connect us to something greater than ourselves. What are transcendent values? They are the ideals and virtues that guide us toward meaning and purpose. They include wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, values that endure through the highs and lows of life. Unlike material possessions or social status, these values cannot be taken away, for they reside within us. By anchoring ourselves to them, we create a foundation of happiness that is resilient to external circumstances. When we align our actions with these values, we experience a profound sense of integrity and fulfillment. For instance, acting justly, even when it is difficult, reinforces our sense of self-worth. Showing courage in the face of fear deepens our connection to our inner strength. Practicing wisdom helps us navigate life with clarity and purpose, while temperance ensures that we maintain balance and self-control. True happiness, as the Stoics teach, is eudaimonia, a state of flourishing that comes from living virtuously. This kind of happiness is not about feeling good all the time. It is about being good and doing good. It is a deeper, more enduring joy that arises from knowing you are living in harmony with your highest values and contributing meaningfully to the world. But aligning with transcendent values requires self-reflection and commitment. It means asking yourself hard questions. What do I truly value? Are my actions consistent with those values? Am I living authentically, or am I compromising my principles for short-term rewards? These questions are not always easy to answer, but they are essential for creating a life of genuine happiness. This alignment also demands the courage to let go of distractions and illusions. Society often encourages us to equate happiness with consumption, comfort, or comparison. Yet, these pursuits only lead to dissatisfaction, for they are inherently fleeting. The Stoics remind us that true happiness comes not from what we acquire, but from who we become. Living according to transcendent values also fosters connection and community. When we prioritize justice, we treat others with fairness and compassion. When we embody courage, we inspire those around us to do the same. These values are not just about individual fulfillment. They are about creating a world where everyone can thrive. Ultimately, aligning with transcendent values is an ongoing journey. It is not about perfection, but about progress, about striving every day to live in a way that reflects your deepest beliefs and aspirations. The rewards of this journey are immeasurable: peace of mind, a sense of purpose, and the unshakable happiness that comes from knowing you are living a life of meaning and integrity. So, pause and reflect. What values guide your life? Are they transcendent, or are they tied to fleeting desires? The choice is yours, and it is a choice that will determine the quality of your happiness. True fulfillment lies not in chasing what is temporary, but in embracing what is eternal. By aligning with transcendent values, you unlock the secret to a life well lived, a life of purpose, joy, and profound connection. 25. Conflict is necessary for growth. Conflict is often viewed as something to avoid, an uncomfortable disruption to the peace we strive for in our lives. Yet the Stoics recognized a profound truth. Conflict is not only unavoidable, but essential for personal growth and transformation. It is through facing challenges and confronting adversities that we uncover our strengths, test our character, and refine our values. Imagine a blade being forged. The metal must endure the heat of the furnace and the pounding of the hammer to take shape and gain its edge. Without this process, it remains a lump of unformed potential. In much the same way, conflict acts as the furnace in which our character is tested and shaped. It forces us to confront our fears, question our assumptions, and rise to meet obstacles we might otherwise shy away from. The Stoics teach us that life will present challenges, and our response to these challenges determines our growth. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that obstacles are not impediments to our progress, but the very path we must take. Each conflict we encounter, whether external or internal, holds the potential to teach us something invaluable. A disagreement with a friend may reveal the need for better communication or deeper understanding. A failure at work may highlight areas for skill development or a misalignment with our true purpose. But embracing conflict for growth requires a shift in perspective. Instead of viewing it as a threat, we must see it as an opportunity. This does not mean seeking out unnecessary strife or becoming combative, but rather approaching challenges with courage, curiosity, and resilience. When conflict arises, it is an invitation to dig deeper, to discover parts of ourselves that we might not have otherwise explored. Growth through conflict also demands self-awareness and reflection. It is not enough to experience challenges. We must actively engage with them. What triggered the conflict? What can I learn from this situation? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? By asking these questions, we turn conflict into a teacher, guiding us toward greater self-knowledge and personal development. Furthermore, conflict teaches us to navigate the complexity of human relationships. Disagreements and misunderstandings are inevitable in any connection, but they can also be opportunities for growth if approached with openness and humility. By listening, empathizing, and striving to understand the perspectives of others, we not only resolve the conflict, but also deepen the bonds we share. The key to benefiting from conflict is maintaining a Stoic mindset. This means focusing on what is within your control, your thoughts, actions, and attitudes, and letting go of what lies beyond it. Instead of reacting impulsively to conflict, respond thoughtfully. Instead of avoiding discomfort, lean into it with courage and curiosity. In doing so, you transform conflict from a source of fear into a catalyst for growth. So, the next time you encounter conflict, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this experience? Remember, just as pressure turns coal into diamonds, conflict has the power to bring out the best in us, if we are willing to embrace it with wisdom and resolve. 26. Patterns of behavior matter. Life is not shaped by isolated moments, but by the patterns of behavior that we repeat day after day. The Stoics understood this deeply, emphasizing the importance of cultivating habits that align with our values and aspirations. Our behavior, over time, forms the framework of our character, determines the quality of our relationships, and dictates the trajectory of our lives. Patterns of behavior are like the grooves on a record. They determine the music of your life. If the grooves are deep and aligned with positive practices, they create harmony and flow. But if they are shallow or chaotic, the result is discord. Recognizing this, the Stoics urge us to pay close attention to the patterns we create and reinforce through our daily actions and decisions. Consider this. What you do consistently, whether it's nurturing your mind, engaging in meaningful work, or fostering connections with loved ones, builds the architecture of your life. Conversely, neglectful or destructive patterns, such as procrastination, negativity, or indulgence in harmful habits, erode your foundation and lead to dissatisfaction and regret. The power of patterns lies in their cumulative effect. A single day of skipping exercise or neglecting a meaningful conversation may seem inconsequential, but repeated over weeks or months, these choices shape the course of your life. Conversely, a single act of kindness or a small step toward a goal, when practiced consistently, can lead to profound transformation. To cultivate positive patterns, the Stoics teach us the importance of intentionality. Start by identifying your values and goals. What kind of person do you want to become? What habits and behaviors will help you get there? Then, focus on aligning your actions with these aspirations. This requires discipline, but it is a discipline that pays dividends in the form of a life well lived. Breaking negative patterns, on the other hand, demands self-awareness and accountability. Pay attention to the behaviors that hold you back or cause harm. Ask yourself, why do I engage in this pattern? What need or fear is driving it? Once you identify the root cause, take steps to replace the negative behavior with a positive alternative. For example, if stress leads you to overeat, develop a healthier coping mechanism, such as exercise or meditation. The Stoics also remind us of the power of momentum. Small, consistent actions create a ripple effect, making it easier to sustain positive patterns and harder to revert to negative ones. Each time you make a choice that aligns with your values, you strengthen your resolve and reinforce the behavior. Over time, this momentum builds, transforming your patterns into second nature. Ultimately, patterns of behavior matter because they shape the story of your life. Every action you take is a sentence in that story, contributing to its theme and direction. Will it be a tale of growth, courage, and purpose, or one of stagnation, regret, and missed opportunities? The choice is yours, and it is a choice made not once but every day in the patterns you practice and the habits you nurture. So, take a moment to reflect on your patterns of behavior. Are they leading you toward the life you desire? If not, what changes can you make today to begin writing a new chapter? Remember, the life you live is a reflection of the patterns you embrace, and every moment is an opportunity to shape those patterns with wisdom and intention. 27. Self-reflection is key. Self-reflection is the bridge between who you are today and who you have the potential to become. The Stoics revered the act of introspection, seeing it as a foundational practice for growth, self-awareness, and virtuous living. Without reflection, we move through life blindly, reacting to circumstances instead of shaping them, repeating mistakes instead of learning from them. To understand why self-reflection is so vital, imagine navigating a ship without a compass. You might travel great distances, but without a clear direction, you risk drifting aimlessly or veering far from your intended destination. Self-reflection acts as that compass, guiding you back to your values, clarifying your goals, and helping you stay aligned with your purpose. Self-reflection doesn't require grand gestures or elaborate rituals. It begins with simple questions. What did I do today? How did I respond to challenges? Did my actions reflect the kind of person I want to be? These questions, though basic, carry immense power. They force you to pause and examine the choices you make, the thoughts you entertain, and the patterns you perpetuate. One of the most remarkable aspects of self-reflection is its ability to reveal blind spots. We often operate on autopilot, unaware of the habits and mindsets that hinder our growth. Reflection shines a light on these areas, enabling us to address them before they solidify into barriers. For example, a moment of honest introspection might reveal that your procrastination stems not from laziness, but from fear of failure. Armed with this insight, you can address the root cause rather than merely chastising yourself for the behavior. However, self-reflection is not merely an exercise in self-criticism. It is equally an opportunity to celebrate your progress and reinforce positive behaviors. It's easy to focus on shortcomings and overlook victories. But recognizing your growth is just as important as acknowledging areas for improvement. Did you respond to a stressful situation with patience? Did you take a step toward a long-term goal? These moments deserve acknowledgement, as they serve as reminders of your capability and resilience. The Stoics also saw self-reflection as a way to maintain accountability. By regularly evaluating your actions and decisions, you hold yourself to a higher standard, ensuring that your life aligns with your principles. Seneca emphasized the practice of reviewing the day's events each evening, noting what went well, what could have been handled better, and what lessons could be applied moving forward. This nightly ritual fosters a sense of intentionality, turning each day into an opportunity for growth. Self-reflection is not always comfortable. It requires confronting truths about yourself that you might prefer to ignore, flaws, fears, and failures. Yet, it is precisely in this discomfort that growth occurs. Avoidance might spare you temporary pain, but it also denies you the chance to evolve. Reflection invites you to face your imperfections head-on, not with judgment, but with a commitment to improvement. The beauty of self-reflection lies in its accessibility. You don't need a special setting or advanced tools to engage in it. A quiet moment, a journal, or even a thoughtful walk can serve as a space for introspection. What matters is your willingness to be honest with yourself and to act on the insights you gain. Self-reflection is a gift you give yourself, a way to ensure that your actions are purposeful, your growth intentional, and your life aligned with your deepest values. It is not a practice reserved for moments of crisis or monumental decisions. It is a daily habit, a tool for constant refinement. In a world full of distractions and external noise, self-reflection anchors you to what truly matters, helping you navigate life with clarity, resilience, and integrity. 28. Paradise requires sacrifice. The idea of paradise often conjures images of effortless bliss, a state where all desires are fulfilled without struggle or compromise. Yet, this vision is a mirage, a dangerous illusion that leads to disappointment and dissatisfaction. True paradise, the Stoics teach us, is not handed to us, but earned through sacrifice, effort, and discipline. It is not a place but a state of mind, cultivated through intentional living and meaningful choices. Sacrifice is the foundation upon which paradise is built. To achieve anything of value, whether it's a fulfilling career, a loving relationship, or inner peace, you must be willing to let go of something in return. This might mean sacrificing comfort for growth, immediate gratification for long-term goals, or personal desires for the greater good. While sacrifice often carries a negative connotation, the Stoics reframed it as a noble act, one that aligns our actions with our highest values. Consider the sacrifices made by an artist dedicated to their craft. They give up leisure, endure criticism, and persist through countless failures, all in pursuit of creating something meaningful. Or think of the sacrifices involved in nurturing a strong relationship, letting go of ego, practicing patience, and showing up even when it's inconvenient. In both cases, the sacrifices are not losses, but investments, paving the way for something greater. The Stoics remind us that sacrifice is not about suffering for its own sake, but about prioritizing what truly matters. It is a conscious choice to focus your energy and resources on what aligns with your principles and aspirations. Epictetus spoke of the importance of knowing what you are willing to trade for your goals, urging us to ask, what am I willing to let go of to achieve this? By answering this question honestly, you clarify your priorities and commit to a path of purposeful action. Sacrifice also teaches us the value of delayed gratification. In a culture that glorifies instant rewards, the ability to wait, to endure, and to work toward a future goal is a rare and powerful virtue. The Stoics understood that true fulfillment comes not from fleeting pleasures, but from the sustained effort of building a meaningful life. They saw sacrifice not as a burden, but as a necessary step toward achieving eudaimonia, a state of flourishing and contentment. Yet, sacrifice is not without its challenges. It requires resilience, patience, and a deep connection to your purpose. There will be moments of doubt and temptation, times when the effort feels overwhelming, and the rewards seem distant. In these moments, the Stoics encourage us to focus on the bigger picture. Remind yourself why the sacrifice is worth it. Visualize the paradise you are working toward, and let that vision fuel your determination. Moreover, the Stoics emphasize that paradise is not solely about personal gain. Sacrifice often involves contributing to the well-being of others, finding joy and purpose in service and connection. A parent sacrifices sleep and personal time for the sake of their child's growth. A leader sacrifices convenience and popularity to uphold integrity and fairness. In these acts of selflessness, we discover a deeper, more enduring sense of fulfillment. Paradise, then, is not a distant destination or an unattainable ideal. It is the result of deliberate choices, consistent effort, and the willingness to sacrifice what is easy for what is meaningful. It is the peace that comes from knowing you have lived in alignment with your values, the joy of achieving something hard-earned, and the contentment of contributing to a greater purpose. So, the next time you find yourself resisting sacrifice, remember that it is not a loss, but a path that leads to growth, purpose, and the kind of paradise that no external circumstances can take away. Embrace sacrifice not as a hardship, but as a privilege, a chance to build the life and character you truly desire. 29. Boundaries. Teach respect. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define the space between where you end and others begin. They are not walls meant to isolate, but guidelines that establish respect, protect your values, and ensure healthy relationships. The Stoics emphasized boundaries as a crucial component of maintaining inner peace, self-respect, and clarity of purpose. Without boundaries, life becomes a chaotic swirl of external demands and internal resentment. At their core, boundaries are a reflection of self-respect. By setting boundaries, you send a clear message to the world about what you will and will not accept. This act is not selfish. It is essential for maintaining your well-being. If you don't set boundaries, others will define them for you, often to their advantage and your detriment. Over time, this erodes not only your peace of mind, but also your sense of self-worth. Teaching respect through boundaries begins with clarity. You must first understand your own values, limits, and needs. What energizes you and what drains you? What aligns with your purpose and what pulls you away from it? The clearer you are about your own expectations, the easier it becomes to communicate them to others. This clarity not only fosters respect from others, but also reinforces your commitment to living authentically. Boundaries also function as a mirror, reflecting how others view and treat you. Those who respect your boundaries respect you. Those who disregard them reveal their lack of regard for your well-being. This distinction is invaluable, helping you identify relationships that nurture growth versus those that breed toxicity. Boundaries are not about controlling others, but about protecting yourself. When enforced consistently, they act as a filter, allowing positive connections to flourish and harmful ones to fade. However, setting boundaries is only half the battle. The real challenge lies in enforcing them. This requires courage, resilience, and often difficult conversations. You may face pushback, guilt-tripping, or even hostility from those who are accustomed to overstepping your limits. But each time you stand firm, you reinforce your own self-respect and teach others to respect you in turn. The Stoics remind us that boundaries extend beyond interpersonal relationships. They also apply to how we manage our time, energy, and focus. In a world filled with distractions, setting boundaries against endless scrolling, overcommitment, and aimless busyness is an act of self-discipline. By guarding your time and energy, you create space for what truly matters: growth, purpose, and meaningful connection. Boundaries are not rigid rules, but dynamic practices. They evolve as you grow, adapting to new challenges and priorities. What remains constant is their purpose: to foster respect, protect your well-being, and align your life with your values. When you honor your boundaries, you teach others to do the same. You show them that respect is not demanded, but earned through mutual understanding and consistent action. Ultimately, boundaries are an act of love, not just for yourself, but for others. They create the conditions for healthy, respectful, and fulfilling relationships. By setting and maintaining boundaries, you cultivate a life of balance, integrity, and peace. As the Stoics would say, the discipline of boundaries is a cornerstone of a virtuous life. 30. Comfort breeds stagnation. Comfort is seductive. It whispers promises of ease, safety, and contentment, drawing you into routines that feel secure but often lead to stagnation. The Stoics understood that while comfort has its place, it can also be a double-edged sword, a source of complacency that stifles growth and limits potential. At first glance, comfort seems harmless, even desirable. After all, who doesn't enjoy a cozy evening at home or the predictability of a well-established routine? But over time, too much comfort erodes ambition and resilience. It dulls the edge of curiosity, dampens the spark of creativity, and lulls you into a state of inertia. The very thing that feels so safe becomes a cage, trapping you within the confines of the familiar. Growth, by its nature, is uncomfortable. It requires stepping into the unknown, confronting fears, and enduring challenges. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from embracing discomfort, not avoiding it. Voluntary discomfort, a practice they often recommended, builds resilience, sharpens focus, and prepares you for the inevitable hardships of life. Whether it's fasting, exercising in harsh conditions, or enduring temporary inconvenience, these practices cultivate mental and physical fortitude. Comfort, on the other hand, fosters stagnation by making you risk-averse. When life feels easy, the thought of disrupting that ease can be intimidating. You may avoid opportunities that require effort or shy away from challenges that push you beyond your limits. Over time, this avoidance becomes a habit, and the boundaries of your comfort zone shrink, leaving you ill-prepared for the unpredictable nature of life. The problem with comfort is not its existence, but its dominance. A balanced life allows for moments of rest and relaxation, but these should be interwoven with challenges and growth. The key lies in recognizing when comfort is serving you and when it is holding you back. Are you resting to recharge, or are you avoiding effort? Are you enjoying a moment of peace, or are you escaping the discomfort of progress? One of the most insidious effects of comfort is its ability to mask dissatisfaction. You may feel a vague sense of unease, a yearning for something more, but the security of comfort keeps you from taking action. This is the paradox of comfort. It promises contentment, but often delivers mediocrity. Breaking free from this cycle requires courage. The courage to disrupt the status quo, to seek out discomfort, and to embrace the challenges that lead to growth. The Stoics encourage us to view discomfort not as an enemy, but as a teacher. It is through discomfort that we learn resilience, discover our strengths, and achieve meaningful progress. Each time you step out of your comfort zone, you expand your capacity for growth and deepen your understanding of yourself. Discomfort becomes not a burden, but a catalyst, propelling you toward your goals and dreams. Ultimately, comfort should be a tool, not a trap. Use it to rest, recharge, and reflect, but do not let it define your life. Remember that the greatest achievements, the most profound transformations, and the deepest joys often lie beyond the boundaries of comfort. Embrace the discomfort of growth, and you will find that the rewards far outweigh the fleeting allure of ease. As the Stoics might say, a life of purpose and virtue requires effort, discipline, and the willingness to face discomfort head-on. 31. False personas. Destroy integrity. Integrity is the foundation of a meaningful and fulfilled life. It's the alignment of your actions, words, and values, a state where who you are on the inside matches how you present yourself to the world. Yet, in a society that often rewards appearances over substance, the temptation to adopt false personas can be overwhelming. These facades may offer short-term gains, but they exact a long-term toll on your sense of self-worth and integrity. A false persona is more than just a mask. It's a distortion of who you truly are. It arises when you feel the need to conform to societal expectations, impress others, or protect yourself from criticism and rejection. Perhaps you project confidence when you feel uncertain or adopt an image of success to hide struggles. While these behaviors may seem harmless or even strategic at first, they create a disconnect between your authentic self and the version you present to the world. This disconnect is corrosive. Over time, the effort required to maintain a false persona becomes exhausting. You may find yourself second-guessing your words and actions, constantly managing the impressions of others. Worse, you might lose touch with your authentic self altogether, forgetting what truly matters to you. The result is an inner conflict that undermines your peace of mind and erodes your integrity. False personas also breed mistrust, both with others and within yourself. People may sense the inconsistency between your words and your true nature, leading to strained relationships and a lack of genuine connection. More importantly, you may begin to mistrust yourself. Every time you act inauthentically, you reinforce a belief that your true self is not enough. that you must pretend to be someone else to gain acceptance or success. The Stoics emphasized the importance of living in alignment with your values and rejecting the pursuit of external validation. They understood that true fulfillment comes not from how others perceive you, but from how you perceive yourself. Authenticity is a cornerstone of this philosophy. It demands that you act according to your principles, even when doing so is difficult or unpopular. Adopting false personas may seem like a shortcut to success or approval, but it is a path fraught with pitfalls. Each compromise chips away at your integrity, leaving you feeling hollow and disconnected. The rewards of authenticity, by contrast, are profound. When you live authentically, you build trust, foster meaningful relationships, and experience a deep sense of alignment with your purpose. Living authentically doesn't mean revealing every aspect of yourself to everyone or ignoring the need for tact and diplomacy. It means being honest with yourself about your values, desires, and limitations, and striving to act in accordance with them. It means resisting the urge to conform for the sake of acceptance and instead embracing the courage to be yourself. The cost of false personas is high, but the rewards of integrity are immeasurable. When you shed the masks, you liberate yourself from the burden of pretense and create space for genuine connection and self-respect. In the words of the Stoics, living in harmony with nature includes living in harmony with your true nature. Let go of the facades, embrace your authenticity, and discover the freedom and fulfillment that come from living with integrity. 32. Living authentically requires sacrifice. Authenticity is a noble pursuit, but it comes with a price. To live authentically means to honor your true self, to act in alignment with your values and beliefs, and to resist the pressures of conformity. It is a life of courage, honesty, and self-respect. Yet, this path often demands sacrifice of comfort, approval, and even relationships. Living authentically requires letting go of the need for universal acceptance. This can be a painful process. Human beings are wired for connection, and the fear of rejection runs deep. But when you prioritize approval over authenticity, you trade your self-worth for the fleeting comfort of fitting in. The sacrifice here is not just external, it is internal. You lose a piece of yourself each time you act against your values to gain acceptance. To live authentically, you must also confront the discomfort of being misunderstood. Not everyone will agree with your choices or appreciate your perspective. Some may criticize or question you, especially if your authenticity challenges the status quo. This can be isolating, but it is a necessary consequence of living true to yourself. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control the opinions of others, only our response to them. Authenticity means accepting this reality and finding strength in your convictions. Another sacrifice is the allure of the familiar. Authenticity often requires stepping out of your comfort zone, questioning long-held beliefs, and embracing change. This can feel unsettling, as it forces you to confront uncertainty and risk. But growth and authenticity are inextricably linked. You cannot evolve into your truest self without letting go of outdated versions of who you thought you were. Living authentically may also strain relationships. People who are accustomed to the roles you once played may resist your growth. They may push back, criticize, or attempt to pull you back into old patterns. In some cases, relationships may end. This is a painful but inevitable aspect of living authentically. The relationships that endure will be those built on mutual respect and acceptance of your true self. Despite these sacrifices, the rewards of authenticity far outweigh the costs. When you live authentically, you experience a profound sense of freedom and alignment. You no longer waste energy maintaining facades or seeking approval. Your actions reflect your values, and your relationships become deeper and more meaningful. Most importantly, you gain self-respect and a sense of inner peace. Authenticity is not a destination, but a practice. It requires ongoing effort, reflection, and courage. There will be moments of doubt, setbacks, and discomfort, but each step you take toward authenticity strengthens your resilience and clarity of purpose. The Stoics teach that a life of virtue is a life of alignment, where your thoughts, words, and actions reflect your true nature. This alignment is the essence of authenticity. It is not the easy path, but it is the path to a life of meaning, fulfillment, and integrity. Embrace the sacrifices required to live authentically, and you will discover a strength and joy that no external approval can provide. 33. Reinvention is possible. Reinvention is a profound reminder of the transformative power within each of us. Life often presents moments where the familiar becomes stale, the path ahead unclear, or past decisions no longer align with who we aspire to be. In these moments, reinvention offers a way forward, not as a rejection of who you are, but as an embrace of the growth and evolution inherent in being human. To reinvent yourself is to acknowledge that change is not only inevitable, but necessary. It begins with a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about your current state. Perhaps your career feels stagnant, your relationships lack authenticity, or your habits no longer serve your goals. Recognizing these disconnects requires courage, for it is far easier to remain in the familiar, even if it leads to dissatisfaction. Reinvention starts with an honest evaluation of where you are and where you wish to be. The Stoics remind us that while external circumstances may be beyond our control, our responses to them are not. Reinvention leverages this principle. It calls for the deliberate shaping of your character, choices, and priorities. It does not require a dramatic overhaul overnight. Instead, it thrives on incremental, consistent efforts. Small shifts, whether in mindset, daily habits, or long-term goals, can lay the foundation for profound transformation. Reinvention is not limited by age, circumstance, or past mistakes. Some of history's most inspiring figures reinvented themselves later in life or after facing significant failures. These individuals understood that life is a continuous process of growth and adaptation. They embraced their past not as a limitation, but as a lesson, a stepping stone toward a new chapter. The process of reinvention often involves letting go. This could mean shedding unhelpful beliefs, toxic relationships, or outdated ambitions. Letting go creates space for something new, but it also requires resilience. Change can be unsettling, and the path to reinvention is rarely linear. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt. Yet, each challenge overcome strengthens your resolve and brings you closer to the person you are becoming. Reinvention is also an act of creativity. It is the art of imagining a new version of yourself and taking deliberate steps to bring it to life. This requires vision, patience, and a willingness to experiment. You may not have all the answers at the outset, and that is okay. The journey itself is transformative, teaching you about your strengths, values, and capacities. The beauty of reinvention lies in its endless possibilities. No matter how stuck or lost you may feel, the potential for change remains. Reinvention is not about erasing the past, but building upon it with wisdom and intention. It is a declaration that you are not defined by your circumstances, but by your choices. The Stoics teach us to focus on what is within our power. Reinvention exemplifies this philosophy. It is an active, empowering process that places your growth and happiness firmly in your hands. Embrace the possibility of reinvention, and you will discover a wellspring of strength and creativity that can reshape your life in extraordinary ways. 34. Struggle builds. Resilience. Struggle is an inevitable part of life, and while it can feel overwhelming in the moment, it is also one of the most powerful catalysts for growth. The trials we face shape us, testing our limits, refining our character, and ultimately building the resilience necessary to thrive. Without struggle, there can be no strength. The Stoics viewed struggle as an opportunity. For them, adversity was not something to be avoided, but embraced as a means of becoming stronger and wiser. They recognized that challenges teach us more about ourselves than comfort ever could. Struggle forces us to confront our fears, weaknesses, and limitations. In doing so, it provides the chance to overcome them and emerge more capable. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is something you develop. Each struggle, no matter how small, contributes to this development. It begins with a mindset shift. Instead of viewing struggles as barriers, see them as stepping stones. They are the crucible in which resilience is forged, a process that transforms discomfort and pain into perseverance and strength. Struggles often reveal hidden strengths and untapped potential. When faced with adversity, you are forced to dig deep, to discover resources within yourself that you might not have known existed. This process can be painful, but it is also empowering. Every challenge overcome becomes a testament to your ability to endure and adapt. Struggle also teaches humility and perspective. It reminds us that life is unpredictable and that control is limited. These lessons, while humbling, are invaluable. They encourage us to let go of perfectionism and accept the imperfections of life. In doing so, we become more adaptable, less reactive, and better equipped to handle future challenges. Resilience built through struggle extends beyond individual growth. It also strengthens relationships. Shared challenges often bring people closer, fostering empathy, trust, and a sense of community. In this way, struggle can be a unifying force, reminding us of our shared humanity and the strength that comes from supporting one another. The Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort illustrates the value of struggle. By intentionally exposing themselves to hardship, whether through physical challenges, frugal living, or mental exercises, Stoics prepared themselves for the inevitable difficulties of life. This practice not only built resilience, but also reduced fear. When you have faced and overcome discomfort, the unknown becomes less daunting. Struggles may leave scars, but these scars are not marks of weakness. They are badges of resilience. They are a testament to the challenges you have faced and the strength you have gained. Each scar tells a story of growth, a reminder that you have endured and will continue to endure. Resilience is not about avoiding pain, but learning to navigate it with grace and strength. It is about rising after every fall, finding meaning in every challenge, and continuing to move forward. The struggles you face today are shaping the resilient, courageous person you will be tomorrow. The Stoics remind us that life's challenges are not punishments, but opportunities. They are the forge in which resilience is crafted, the proving ground for strength and wisdom. Embrace struggle not as an enemy, but as a teacher, and you will discover the indomitable spirit that lies within you. 35. Challenges are essential for fulfillment. Fulfillment is often sought as the pinnacle of human existence, a state of satisfaction, purpose, and contentment. Yet the paradox of fulfillment lies in its path. It is not found in ease or comfort, but forged through challenges. Challenges, though demanding and often painful, are the essential crucibles in which fulfillment is created. Challenges awaken the dormant parts of us, compelling us to rise beyond our perceived limits. When life is free of difficulty, complacency can creep in. Comfort, while pleasant, breeds stagnation. It lacks the friction necessary for growth and the urgency that drives us to evolve. Challenges, on the other hand, serve as the spark that ignites our potential, forcing us to confront and overcome the barriers that hold us back. Consider the satisfaction that comes from achieving something difficult. Whether it is mastering a skill, overcoming a personal fear, or solving a complex problem, the joy is not simply in the outcome, but in the effort required to get there. It is the struggle, the persistence, and the triumph over adversity that imbue the achievement with meaning. Without the challenge, the victory would feel hollow, the fulfillment incomplete. The Stoics understood this well. For them, the trials of life were not burdens, but opportunities to cultivate virtue. They believed that true character is revealed and strengthened in the face of difficulty. Challenges were seen as the arena in which courage, resilience, and wisdom were honed. To them, avoiding challenges was not just impossible, but undesirable. It was a missed opportunity to grow. Challenges also force us to define what truly matters. When faced with hardship, we are compelled to prioritize, to distinguish between what is essential and what is superfluous. This clarity can be profoundly liberating. It strips away distractions and focuses our energy on what is most meaningful. In doing so, challenges often illuminate our purpose and align us more closely with our values. Furthermore, challenges connect us to others. Shared adversity fosters camaraderie and empathy. It reminds us of our shared humanity and the strength we draw from community. Whether it is leaning on a friend during a personal struggle or collaborating with a team to overcome a professional obstacle, challenges deepen our connections and strengthen our relationships. The process of overcoming challenges also builds confidence. Each obstacle conquered becomes a testament to your strength and capability. It reinforces the belief that you are capable of handling whatever life throws your way. This confidence is not the fleeting kind that comes from external validation, but a deep, enduring trust in yourself. Yet, it is not just the resolution of challenges that brings fulfillment, it is the journey itself. The act of engaging with a challenge, of grappling with uncertainty, pushing through discomfort, and persevering despite setbacks, is transformative. It fosters resilience, creativity, and adaptability. It teaches patience and tenacity. These qualities, developed through struggle, enrich our lives far beyond the immediate context of the challenge. Challenges also teach humility. They remind us of our limitations and the unpredictability of life. This humility is not a defeat, but a grounding force, a reminder to approach life with openness and a willingness to learn. It tempers arrogance and fosters gratitude, both of which contribute to a deeper sense of fulfillment. Fulfillment is not about avoiding struggle, but embracing it as a vital part of life. It is found not in the absence of challenges, but in the courage to face them, the perseverance to overcome them, and the wisdom gained along the way. Each challenge is a stepping stone on the path to a richer, more meaningful existence. The Stoics often spoke of life as a test, a series of opportunities to refine ourselves and grow closer to virtue. They encouraged us to welcome challenges not as misfortunes, but as gifts. For in facing them, we find not only our strength but our purpose. Challenges are not just hurdles to be cleared, they are the terrain on which fulfillment is built. Embrace them, and you will discover that the path to fulfillment is not a detour, but the journey itself. As we come to the end of this exploration into 35 transformative ways to overcome your negative beliefs, let's reflect on what truly matters: growth, resilience, and self-mastery. Each step you take to dismantle those limiting beliefs is a step closer to a life of clarity and purpose. A life where you're no longer held back by fear or self-doubt, but propelled forward by your own strength and wisdom. Remember, Stoicism isn't just a philosophy. It's a guide for living a better, fuller life. These lessons aren't theoretical. They're practical tools you can apply today to change the way you think, feel, and act. So, don't let this just be another video you watch and move on from. Take action. Pick one belief you're ready to confront and start dismantling it today. Life is too short to live under the weight of negativity. Choose clarity. Choose strength. Choose the courage to face yourself. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one negative belief you've struggled with that you're ready to destroy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your journey could inspire someone else to take that first step. If you found value in these lessons, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. By joining our community, you'll stay inspired and receive more Stoic wisdom to help you live your best life. See you in the next video.